Many years ago, I was a science teacher. After grading a student assignment, I included a tiny, balloon-footed character. Inevitably, students and parents asked, why this little guy? All I would ever say was, his name was Hoota, Thaddeus P. Hoota, and I knew him well. This is his story.
On the campus of a well-respected university, in pursuit of truth and elevated consciousness, we find one Dr. Brento in his laboratory on the first day of class.
Good morning, good morning. I am Dr. Brento. Welcome to Cosmology 101. You may have asked yourselves during a bad movie or while waiting for a bus, what the hell am I doing here? Where am I going? Well, we in the Cosmology department have asked ourselves the same question.
Gosh, I never thought of it like that.
Well, it's not easy. Lord knows this has been plaguing great minds from early Mesopotamia to Dr. Seuss. And here in Cosmology 101, we have a chance to continue the quest, to chew the cosmic fat, as it were.
Pardon the disturbance, Professor, but Dr. Skinner's had a little accident.
He's outdone himself with his genetic engineering. Those rats are running circles around him, and they're strong.
My word, they said it couldn't be done.
A simple job for the neurotransmitter depressant spray. With one release, your rats will assume the fetal position within seconds. You'll be able to collect them at your leisure.
Oh, Dr. Brento, chivalry isn't dead.
Thank you, Miss Goldfish. Now, where was I? Oh yes, did you realize that every atom of gold on Earth is comprised of stars that exploded before the solar system was created?
I've got a filling in my mouth of an exploded star? Wow! Dr. Brento, I have a question. How did you first become interested in all this?
Yes, I remember it well. It was a dark and stormy night. We were sailing in the South Pacific. Thaddeus P. Hoota and I had just made a toothpick run in the South China Seas. Our mission was to haul a load of mint toothpicks from Singapore to San Francisco for that evil shipping merchant, Mr. E. Ching. Mr. Ching, a cutthroat, loathsome monster of a man, owned a string of fortune cookie factories on the west coast of the States. He needed the picks for his newly purchased restaurant business. So, naturally, he contacted the legendary Thaddeus, whose grandfather reputedly invented the dental pick in the summer of 1880, while pearl diving off St. Martin in the Caribbean.
Ouch! How clumsy of me.
Moby dear, don't forget to clean those teeth.
Ching found Thaddeus living in a shanty by the Frisco wharves. He was down on his luck. So down, in fact, that he accepted the slimy offer from Ching, an offer he and I would soon regret. Hoota contacted me and told the tale of Ching. What are we in for, Hoota, old man? All Thaddeus would do, all he would ever do when I asked him that question, was close his eyes, raise a cane in his right hand, and howl a chant he learned as a child while growing up in the highlands of Nepal. I couldn't help but feel a cold chill down my spine. I wondered right then what strange adventures lay ahead, as visions of evil crept into my thoughts. Hoota took to wearing headbands in those early days. He looked like a gypsy. Once, after an easy sail from Jakarta for some bamboo shoots, we ran into a horde of Malaysian pirates. They swept right up to our schooner, waving sabers and spears, demanding all our money. I was on deck, but Hoota was down below in the captain's quarters. We're broke. Sensing a way out of this jam, I raised my voice and yelled, "No! Whatever you do, don't go down there. It's evil." Right on cue, the culprits pushed me aside and blasted into the oaken door. Within seconds, however, they came streaming out of the cabin, yelling and hollering like mad dogs under a hot sun. Right then, Hoota, the sly devil, came prancing up out of the captain's room with right arm extended. He looked awful. He hadn't shaved or combed his hair in weeks, and he smelled like a skunk. The pirates jumped overboard and left. Hoota grinned and shuffled off to his bed, howling again and again that boyhood chant of his. I wondered what the nighttime darkness would bring. After pulling into Borneo, I bid Thaddeus farewell and took the next plane to the States. Thaddeus,
Farewell, amigo, but not goodbye.
During the next 10 years, I sometimes got a cryptic postcard from Thaddeus mailed from some far-off seaport. I figured it was being so long at sea that caused him to write such nonsense. But at times I would think of Hoota. Even the possible childhood of this extraordinary being held inordinate fascination for me.
Just look at little Thaddeus, dear. Imagine how tall he'll be someday when the rest of his body catches up to his feet.
One blustery and stormy night in 1978, I was relaxing at my farmhouse in the lower Hudson Valley when the doorbell bonged. There at the door, in Brooks Brothers attire and Gucci shoes, was Thaddeus P. Hoota!
Well, hey!
After the usual fond greetings and brandy, Hoota told tales of his mysterious 10 years of traveling. One story that affected me dearly was the tale of his days spent in Paris. Thaddeus awoke one morning feeling refreshed and vigorous from an exciting evening. The night before, he had been to a publishing party celebrating his new book. He had been sensational. Socially, he had surpassed himself. Even he was astounded at his wit, his grace, his joie de vivre. And now he was basking in the aftermath of his success in the early Paris sunlight and looking forward to a European breakfast. Walking down the Champs-Élysées, Thaddeus heard the words of an auctioneer floating in the morning hours. Strangely enough, he found himself walking in the direction of the sounds, as if some unforeseen spirit were motivating him.
Please, to whom does this house belong?
Monsieur, the articles belonged to one Mademoiselle Solange Gascon, a young woman who died recently of a lung ailment.
It was a luxurious apartment. Women were passing to and fro, talking in excited whispers. Thaddeus walked into the woman's bedroom. All was white. A dressing table was covered with perfume bottles and containers, decorated in gold and silver, bearing various crests and initials.
She was so sweet. How different she was. Solange, can you not give up all your wealth and forge a life with me on the high seas? I would love you forever, and in my life you would be the reason for the winds to blow, for all the birds to sing, for the rains to fall.
I cannot give up my heritage.
Suddenly, there was an auctioneer's voice.
Here we have a beautiful silk rose.
She always smelled like roses.
Thaddeus found himself the owner of the silk rose. Quietly, he walked into the next room and closed the door. There, in the privacy of the young woman's closet, Thaddeus bent his head and sobbed for his lost love.
Origins, Thaddeus P. Hoota, was written by Salvatore Michael Trento. Illustrated by Laurel Marks. Video editing by Ken Morrison of Morrison Video Productions. Character voices provided by the following: Dr. Brento and Thaddeus P. Hoota, Ken Morrison. College student, Kendall Morrison. Lab assistant, Yvonne Morrison. Grandfather, A.J. Evans. Auctioneer, Claude Allain. Solange, Kelly Porter. Opening and closing narration, Michael Stedman. For more from Salvatore Michael Trento, visit fieldguidetомysteriousplaces.com.